Hey guys, today we have a video all about how my husband and I prioritize our marriage. I'm so excited to get into this, but first I wanted to remind you, I post a video like this every single week, so please hit that subscribe button so you know exactly when I post a video every week and so that you can be in the loop. My husband and I have been married for about 5.5 years, which is crazy. I can't believe that. We got married when we were 19 and 21, and it was honestly such a blessing. My husband is like my best friend ever. I prayed for him and the Lord brought me the most amazing man. So my husband and I have been married for 5.5 years, and we've learned quite a few things. Now, we have only had a kiddo for the last year of that. And so we had a lot of time while we were like in our beginning stages of marriage to really get to know each other, and that was so valuable. There are a few things that we do that I wrote down that have really helped us prioritize our marriage. I want to go ahead and start with those. Number one, we do date nights. This is something that we have done since we were dating. We had one night a week that we set aside as a date night. These date nights typically like we would go out and do something together, but then since we've gotten married, it's changed a bit. This is what we've been doing mostly lately is we kind of just stay home, we cook pizza together, and then we do a movie night after Royal goes to bed. We've just found that that has been like the best for us right now in this season of life when we have a little one. Like you don't have to go out in order for it to be considered a date night. As long as you're being intentional, that's kind of what we do, where we like don't spend really any time on our phones or anything. It's just like our undivided attention time together. It's become one of my favorite nights of the week. Date night is so fun. Okay, number two thing, I try to kiss my husband as soon as he comes home, or as soon as I walk in the door if I've been gone at the end of the day. I heard that from somebody one time that they always tried to give their husband a kiss at the door. I've just been really trying to implement that, and I think that honestly it just helps a lot. Like it helps him feel like he's prioritized, and it helps me like get in the right mindset. Maybe like if I've been grumpy at him or something, like I know that I'm gonna go kiss him when he first gets home, it kind of changes my heart. Number three thing that we do to prioritize our marriage, on Sundays we take a Sabbath day or a rest day. This is because the Bible talks a lot about Sabbath, and we find that it's very important for us to do that. It's actually in the 10 Commandments. It says, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Do we feel like you have to be super legalistic about this? No, but we feel that it's important for us to take a day off of work and anything having to do with work and spend time as a family, spend time resting, and then with our life group. So typically on Sundays, we go to church, and then we have time just in the afternoon as a family. Then in the evening, we have our life group Bible study at night. Sabbaths are a way that we can spend like a full day really together and as a family, whereas during the week we're kind of going in our separate directions all the time, and then we kind of come together at the end of the day. Sundays are different. It's like we spend the whole day together. Number four thing, and I'm just gonna talk about it. Number four thing is sex. So we used to not be so great, really more like I used to not be so great about actually being intimate with my husband more than just once a week, which is so embarrassing to say. We've learned that we need to be intimate more. That is a way that we prioritize our marriage. We just make time for it. One thing that I heard somebody say one time, and I think that it's so powerful, is that the enemy wants to get you in bed before you're married and out of bed after you're married. And that is so true. When we are not having sex in our marriage, we feel it emotionally. We begin to like bicker and fight, and sex really does bring a couple together, and it is so important. Now, I realize that this is not necessarily possible for every single couple, whatever reason it might be. Maybe you're like a military spouse, or maybe you have trouble as far as pain and stuff goes with sex. I really want to encourage you to seek a way to fix that situation. So if that means you need to go to counseling, or if that means that medication is needed or something like that, please do so, because sex within a marriage is so important, and it's so important to consummate that marriage covenant. Maybe you struggle with bitterness or past issues with sex or fear or anything like that. I really encourage you to go to a therapist and work through that, because sex in a marriage is so important, and there's a reason that God put it in place for marriages. And then I have one more thing. This one, it's something that we used to do a lot and we don't necessarily do a ton now, but this is to get away together. Now, we used to take a trip once a year on our anniversary, or that anniversary week or weekend, where we would go on a pretty big trip. It would be like a week-long kind of vacation style trip. Now, we haven't been able to really do that since we've had our baby, but I'm assuming that that's something that we would like to continue as she gets a little bit older. I just feel like that was such a sweet thing that we were able to do, is every year we would take a bigger trip, and it really was so fun. Like we got to like think back on those moments and times where we like just we're young and stupid and trying to travel. We just had so much fun and like we learned so much and it was just a blast. I just think it's really helpful for your relationship to do fun things together still. Now, I wanted to mention too, that if you're watching this video and you're struggling in your marriage and you're like, man, like we could never do that or we could never have that, I really want to encourage you to just pray. Pray for your marriage, pray for your husband. And one thing that I've been trying to do when there's something that is really bugging me about my marriage or about something my husband did or whatever, number one, you need to communicate that to him. Make sure you communicate that in a kind and loving manner, but also more than anything, pray about it. Pray that the Lord would help your marriage, that he would begin to restore it, and that he would begin to soften your heart and your husband's heart. That is so important. Pray for your marriage, pray for your husband, and pray for the Lord to soften your hearts. Also, I want to say too, that one thing I've been trying to do is to pray instead of nag at my husband when I want something to change in our marriage before I start lashing out at him in little ways. And you'll notice when you start lashing out at your husband in little things that usually it's not the little thing that's the problem, it's a big thing that's the problem. So ask the Lord to show you what that might be, and then ask the Lord to give you the time and the words to say the right thing to your husband to present this issue to him. I guess that was kind of off a tangent there, but I just wanted to say that too. If you're listening to me talk and you're starting to compare yourself to my marriage or something like that, please don't do that. Please pray and feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to pray for you if you are struggling in this area or dealing with a very difficult marriage. So those are my tips for marriage. Hope that you enjoyed this. Remember, I post a video like this every single week, so please hit your subscribe button and tune back in next week.